You know, when I think about action films, the Bad Boys franchise always pops into my head. It's like a guilty pleasure that I can't shake off. And honestly, I don't want to. The chemistry between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence is electric, and the way they navigate their characters through chaos and comedy is just brilliant. Welcome back to Starstruck TV, your one and only source for film and TV commentaries, reviews, and recaps. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Now let's get into it. What really gets me is how this series has left a mark on the action genre. It's not just about the explosions and car chases. It's about the characters and the stereotypes they challenge. Have you ever noticed how these films have evolved over the years? It's like they've taken a hard look at what we expect from action heroes and said, nah, let's do something different. The legacy of Bad Boys isn't just about the adrenaline rush. It's about the characters who embody a mix of humor, heart, and grit. From Mike Lowry's suave demeanor to Marcus Burnett's family-oriented approach, these guys are more than just cops chasing bad guys. They're complex individuals who reflect different aspects of masculinity and friendship. Now, you all know I'm a big fan of movies and shows, but I also have a passion for helping people level up and reach their goals. So I wanted to take a moment to invite you to sign up for Be the Director of Your Life, a course that helps you flip the script and rewrite the story of your life. Check it out in the link below. I'll see you there. Now let's get back into the video. And let's not forget the female characters in this film who break the mold, or the villains who aren't just one-dimensional evildoers. It's fascinating how this franchise has managed to keep things fresh while still delivering that classic buddy cop vibe we all love. So let's dive into the characters and themes that make Bad Boys a standout in the action film landscape. Mike Lowry, breaking the Playboy cop stereotype. Let's talk about Mike Lowry for a second. Played by Will Smith, he's the quintessential Playboy cop, right? But here's the kicker. He's not just a pretty face with a badge. Sure, he has that charming swagger and a knack for wooing women, but there's so much more beneath the surface. I mean, how often do we see a character like him who can balance being a tough cop with genuine emotional depth? It's refreshing. He's not just out there chasing criminals, he's also grappling with his own vulnerabilities and relationships. What I find particularly interesting is how Mike challenges the stereotype of the Playboy cop. Instead of being a shallow womanizer, he shows moments of real connection and loyalty, especially to Marcus. It's like he embodies this duality. He can be the life of the party 1 minute and then turn around and show his softer side when it comes to his friends and family. Isn't it cool how he breaks that mold? It makes me wonder if we're finally moving away from those one-dimensional characters that used to dominate action films. Marcus Burnett, challenging the family man stereotype. Now let's shift gears and talk about Marcus Burnett, played by Martin Lawrence. At first glance, he seems like your typical family man, dedicated to his wife and kids, always trying to balance work and home life. But here's where it gets interesting. Marcus isn't just a passive character who exists to support Mike. He actively challenges what it means to be a family man in an action film. I mean, how often do we see a character who is both a loving father and a badass cop? It's like he's redefining masculinity in a way that feels real and relatable. Marcus brings this incredible depth to the story. He struggles with his responsibilities as a father, while also wanting to be part of the action alongside Mike. There are moments when you can see him wrestling with his choices. Does he prioritize his family or his duty as a cop? It's this internal conflict that makes him so compelling. Plus, his comedic timing adds a layer of humor that balances out the intense action sequences. Don't you think it's great to see a character who embodies both strength and vulnerability? It makes me appreciate how Bad Boys flips the script on traditional family man stereotypes. The dynamic duo, redefining the buddy cop relationship. The buddy cop dynamic. It's like peanut butter and jelly. Two distinct flavors that somehow create something amazing together. Mike and Marcus are the perfect example of this relationship done right. Their banter is hilarious, their chemistry is palpable, and they complement each other in ways that elevate the entire narrative. What I love most is how their friendship evolves throughout the series. They're not just partners in crime fighting. They're brothers who challenge each other, support each other, and sometimes drive each other crazy. This dynamic redefines what we expect from buddy cop films. Instead of just being two guys who bicker their way through cases, Mike and Marcus have real emotional stakes in their relationship. They face personal challenges that test their bond, whether it's dealing with family issues or grappling with their own identities as men. It makes me think, how often do we see male friendships portrayed with such depth in action films? Their relationship is a breath of fresh air in a genre that often sidelines emotional connections in favor of explosions. Female characters, shifting the gender stereotypes in action films. Now let's talk about the women in Bad Boys. Can we just take a moment to appreciate how they break away from traditional gender stereotypes? In many action films, female characters are often relegated to love interests or damsels in distress. But in Bad Boys, we see strong women who hold their own against the male leads. Take Rita, for example. She's not just there to look pretty, she's an integral part of the story who can kick butt, just as well as Mike and Marcus. What I find empowering is how these female characters are portrayed as multifaceted individuals with their own goals and motivations. They're not just accessories to the male protagonists. They have their own arcs that contribute to the overall narrative. It makes me wonder if this shift in representation is paving the way for more complex female characters in action films moving forward. Isn't it about time we see women portrayed as equals rather than sidekicks? Bad Boys definitely sets a precedent for what can be achieved when female characters are given depth. The villains, subverting the typical antagonist archetypes. Let's not forget about the villains in Bad Boys. They're not your run-of-the-mill bad guys who twirl their mustaches while plotting world domination. Instead, they're complex characters with their own motivations and backstories that make them more relatable than you'd expect from an action film antagonist. Take, for instance, how some villains have personal stakes that intertwine with Mike and Marcus's lives. Suddenly, it's not just about good versus evil. It becomes a battle of personal convictions. This subversion of typical antagonist archetypes adds layers to the story that keep me engaged. I mean, isn't it more interesting when you can understand why a villain does what they do? It makes for richer storytelling when you can empathize with both sides of the conflict. Plus, it raises questions about morality and justice. What if the line between good and evil isn't as clear-cut as we think? Bad Boys challenges us to consider these complexities while still delivering high-octane action. Themes of redemption and growth, evolving character arcs in Bad Boys Ride or Die. One of the most compelling aspects of Bad Boys is its focus on redemption and growth. Both Mike and Marcus undergo significant transformations throughout the series, grappling with their past mistakes while striving for better futures. It's like watching them evolve from reckless cops into more responsible individuals who understand the weight of their actions. Don't you think it's refreshing to see characters who aren't afraid to confront their flaws? The theme of redemption resonates deeply with me because it reflects real-life struggles we all face. We all make mistakes. It's part of being human. Seeing these characters navigate their journeys toward self-improvement makes them relatable on so many levels. Whether it's Mike learning to prioritize his relationships or Marcus finding balance between work and family life, their arcs remind us that growth is possible, even for those who seem invincible on the surface. The impact of Bad Boys Ride or Die on action film stereotypes. So here we are at the end of our journey through Bad Boys. This franchise has done more than just entertain us with car chases and witty one-liners. It has challenged stereotypes in ways that resonate even today. From breaking down traditional masculinity through characters like Mike and Marcus, to showcasing strong female roles and complex villains, Bad Boys has left an indelible mark on action cinema. With films like Bad Boys Ride or Die, we're reminded that there's always room for growth, complexity, and genuine connection, even amidst all the chaos. Thanks for watching this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject, so leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.